what was it about this job that made it attractive to want to team up with Aaron Glenn?
Well, number one, I have a lot of respect for Aaron. We've known each other over the years. Never really worked with one another, but being in the same division, we had a lot of conversations, particularly at the combine, talking philosophy, those kind of things. So throughout the process, we stayed in contact, and when it narrowed down to the Jets, I got really excited because I've been, from afar. I know the roster, I know the personnel that we have on the defensive side of the ball, and a lot to work with. And with his relationship with the organization, I felt like it was going to be a great connection with ownership.
What do you like about the roster, the personnel, and the guys who've been here? We have Sauce, Quinnen, guys like that.
Well, you just called two guys that I think are phenomenal and at the top of their game within the league. Everything we do starts up front. I don't care if it's stopping the run, getting to the quarterback, creating a new line of scrimmage, and Quinnen is that guy that can do that. And when you look at the second level, you talk about Quincy, you talk about Sherwood, two great linebackers that I'm excited about. They're working well together right now with one another. Of course, we did what we did in the offseason with Sherwood, which I was excited about that. He stepped up, taking a leadership role. And when you look at on the perimeter, Sauce, Brandon Stevens that we brought in, AZ who we drafted, three phenomenal guys that can do the things that we want them to do outside.
How much is this blend from what you've done in the past and what Aaron's done? Obviously, he's got the defensive background schematically. How much are you kind of blending the two of them together?
I really think it's a collaboration of both our schemes and what we're trying to get done. But most importantly, as Coach AG talks about all the time, it's not really about this, our playbook. It's about our play style. And that's the thing that we're trying to emphasize and communicate with these guys, the physicality, the effort, the demand, being smart, not beating ourselves, understanding situational football. And we're going to make sure that we, cater to our players. I think that's a great thing as a coach. Who do you have? What can they do? Put them in the best position to be successful.
Steve, what are the things that for yourself as a former head coach that you can bring to Aaron, who's the first timer at this? What kind of things can you lend to him? And just as a follow, in these early days, what do you see out of him as a leader here?
I think number one, just experience. You can't beat experience, in situations that I may have gone through that doesn't have anything to do with football. And that's what that position sometimes entails, that you're dealing with a lot of things outside of ball. And then also just throughout the course of the year and trying to manage certain things and being able to have someone to bounce ideas off of, I think that's critical. Sometimes in that seat, man, it gets lonely. And you don't have that sounding piece, that individual to communicate and speak with. So I'm here for that. Leadership-wise, phenomenal, man. He has really set the foundation and really trying to change the culture within the building. And I emphasize building, not just the football aspect, because a lot of times on the outside, people don't understand a head coach, that's what he cultivates. He changes the whole dynamics of the building, and you can see that thus far. And the players are really buying in. The level of commitment and consistency that we're seeing throughout the different phases is there.
What are your early impressions of Will McDonald and what he can become?
Will is phenomenal. He can get to the passer. Will's a lot more physical and stronger than what I anticipated and saw from afar. For his being able to be stout in the run game. So there's always that fluctuation with his weight, and that's something that he has to control with the strength staff, which we have a tremendous group of guys there. But his effort, his approach each and every day, I'm on board with him, man. I'm excited about what he can do, and I'm looking forward to a great season from him.
With Sauce, they've been predominantly a zone team the last few years. With his unique skill set because of his length, how would he translate? Everyone's presuming he'll probably play more man this year.
Why are they presuming that?
Well, AG is a man coach.
Okay.
You've done a lot of blitzing in your past, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
If that comes to be, how could he make that? What would that transition be like for him?
As I mentioned earlier, man, he's smart. he sees it from a different lens. I was just talking to our in-house people upstairs and explaining this, that very highly intelligent, understands the game. So I think he will be able to transition well from a standpoint of man, zone, whatever we're trying to do. We always emphasize in the defensive room our weapons, eyes, hands, hips, and feet. Regardless of the call, that's what we got to perfect, and he does a great job of that. And I think everything is predicated off our opponents. Each week it may be a little different. Zone eyes. Getting the ball out quick, making plays on the ball. Being physical at the line of scrimmage, trying to take certain guys away, tighten things up so the D-line can get there. So it's going to fluctuate in how we play.
With Brandon Stevens, just looking at the analytics from last year, he had a lot of catches and yards. And you talk to people who watch Baltimore closely, they said it seemed like he was in the right position a lot of times, just maybe didn't get his head around, didn't get to the ball. What does he have to do better off of what you watched on the film last year in terms of cutting down those catches?
I think you just stated it. I think we've got to do a better job when in position, finishing, making plays on the ball. That's something that we talked about during free agency, and that's something that we continue to emphasize since he's been here. Getting on the jugs extra for us catching the ball, working certain drills, being in position and looking back. So I think, again, it's just the teaching and the consistency in which we give the guys so they can go out and perform.
What did you, in you're out of the NFL, what did you do in terms of maybe taking a step back, how it might have been beneficial for you? I think you're with Charlotte, right?
Yeah, I built a great relationship with Biff Poggi, the head coach that was there. He invited me out, and it really helped me tremendously. They practice in the morning, so I was there to be able to assist and do certain things. And then in the afternoon, and Coach Draper was there as well, we just watched tape. I had access to get the NFL. So each week it would be in there on Monday, and I would study different teams, schemes, third down, 2-minute, whatever. Looked at a lot of Detroit stuff as well with our communication with Aaron. So it was great to reset and recharge, but learned a lot throughout that process, and I was ready to get back into the saddle.
How do you feel about the defensive tackle position beyond Quinnen? We know what Quinnen can do. We've seen a lot of him, but you guys brought in some different faces. How do you feel about that position overall?
BC, Mount Coward is doing well. Jay is doing great. We got Leonard who was here. We got some pieces that can complement him. So it's going to wait and see exactly how it pans out. I thought those guys are doing well. I'm real excited about Jay and BC. But we got to wait until we get the pads on to see exactly how things pan out.
Did your year in San Francisco, I don't know how much was left there from the solid influence when you got to San Francisco, because you've been gone for a few years. But obviously, these guys have been through the solid system for a few years. Is there anything you can take from the time in San Francisco that helps the transition here with the guys you're coaching now?
When you look at a lot of things that I brought and what we were doing, it was a blend, so they knew exactly some of the coverages and some of the things that we were doing based off San Fran. Of course, you mentioned Saleh. So I thought that process and transition was well. One thing we tried not to do, we didn't want to elaborate too much on the terminology of what they used in the past. We wanted to make sure that it was new, it was changed, and those guys are bought in.